ओम नमो भगवते श्री रमणाय। ओम नमो भगवते श्री कृष्णाय, श्री वासुदेवाय, श्री राम कृष्ण। We are studying Ramana. Who am I? 28 questions. Tenth question. How will the mind become quiet? Ramana is saying, by the inquiry, who am I? Let us understand that each path that is prescribed by the masters has a shadow side, which means people tend to do things mechanically without understanding its true import, without understanding its true meaning, why the master has prescribed this path. Who am I also can be done mechanically also if one is not ready for this sublime path. Ramana says this is the most direct way of realizing the self. आत्म साक्षात्कार के लिए रमणा की नजर में ये बिल्कुल सीधा तरीका है. But in my experience, I have seen hardly anybody understands this who am I, who am I, who am I. One starts repeating like any other mantra that one does not comprehend at all. As explained earlier, in the next question, Ramana is further explaining. 11th question is, what is the means for constantly holding on to the thought, who am I? How do you hold on to this thought, who am I? He replies, when other thoughts arise, one should not pursue them, but one should inquire to whom they arise. It does not matter how many thoughts arise. As each thought arises, one should inquire with diligence, to whom has this thought arisen? The answer that would emerge would be, to me. Thereupon, if one inquires, who am I? The mind will go back to its source, and the thought that arose will become quiescent, silent. It will disappear. With repeated practice in this manner, the mind will develop the skill to stay in its source, the self. When the mind that is subtle goes out through the brain and the sense organs, the gross names and forms appear. When it stays in the heart, in the source, names and forms disappear. Not letting the mind go out, but retaining it in the heart is what is called antarmukha, inwardness. And letting the mind go out of the heart is known as bahirmukha, externalization. Inwardness and external, अंतर्मुखी होना और बाहरमुखी, बाह्यमुखी होना, बाह्यमुखी होना. Thus, when the mind stays in the heart, the I, which is the source of all thoughts, will go and the self, whichever exists, will shine. Whatever one does, one should do with the egoity I. If one acts in that way, all will appear as the nature of Shiva. What is Ramana explaining? Any thought arising in the mind, you ask, to whom the thought? And the natural response will be to me, to Subrato, to Shreya, to Rakesh, to Shikha. Rakesh considers himself one with his body-mind complex, जीव, जीवत्व बोलते हैं इसको. This identification with the body-mind complex, this is what Ramana is saying is wrong. This calling oneself Rakesh, Shikha, Subrato, Shreya, that is not right. It is only a thought that you can very well live without also. अपने को शरीर मन आदि के साथ एक बांधना ये ठीक नहीं है, ये अज्ञान है, ये गलत मान्यता है. शरीर मन आदि का जो संचालक है, जिसके कारण जो जीवन नजर आ रहा है, मन काम कर रहा है, हाथ हिल रहे हैं, हृदय धड़क रहा है, खाना खा रहे हैं, बोल रहे हैं, चल रहे हैं, आंख खुली आंख बंद हुई, सपना आया, सुषुप्ति आई, जागृत अवस्था आई, कर्तापन आया, भोक्तापन आया, ये जो भी सारी स्फुरणाएं उठ रही, वो जो सोर्स है उसको जाना नहीं. When we say to me, it only means that to Rakesh, to Shreya, Shikha, Subrato. And now he says, after that, you inquire whether this thought is true or not. To me. The next question is, who am I? मैं कौन हूं? When you ask this question, right after that, the mind becomes still and you experience the source, the self. Satchidananda, blissful, eternal awareness or calm awareness. You experience. When the mind is not functioning now, this awareness is one's real self. ये जो आत्म तत्व है, calm awareness, शांत awareness, शांत चिन्मय सत्ता. No waves arising. अब कोई लहर नहीं उठ रही. That I am so and so, that I am Subrato, that I am Rakesh, Drop this thought down. Then what is the experience? आंखें बंद करो, बहुत ध्यान से इसका अभ्यास करो. मैं कौन हूं? Who am I? Close your eyes. Practice with diligence. Don't give any response to the question, who am I? मैं कौन हूं प्रश्न का जवाब देने की कोशिश नहीं करनी है. तुम फिर उपाधियों में फंस जाओगे, एडजेक्टिव्स में, विशेषणों में, सर्वनाम में और संज्ञा में फंस जाओगे, फिर विचारों में फंस जाओगे. Just remain still and be aware of the stillness. Further, be aware of the awareness. Awareness के ही aware हो जाओ. The first thought that arises from awareness is the I, the ego thought. I am Teresa thought. I am Shreya thought arises. But that thought is not true. That is only a thought. But it is happening so swiftly, so quickly, you don't even realize when you get lost in this thought, and right after that, all the other thoughts follow. ये इतनी जल्दी होता है कि आपको समझ ही नहीं आता कि कब अहंकार उठ गया, कब आप उसमें खो गए, और कब बाकी की जो थॉट्स की जो बाढ़ है वो फिर से आ गई, फिर से खो गए. So Ramana says, practice who am I. This is the way to practice who am I. The stay in the silent awareness, calm awareness, that should get prolonged. In the initial stages of the practice, you are not able to stay in it for more than a few seconds. But as you go on practicing with diligence, you will be able to stay in calm awareness for a longer duration. शुरू में 1 सेकंड 2 सेकंड में नहीं टिकता ये अनुभव, आत्मानुभव. पर जैसे जैसे अभ्यास करोगे, जैसे जैसे मन में वैराग्य आएगा, अनासक्ति आएगी संसार से, वैसे वैसे इसमें टिकाव बनेगा. And the more you are able to stay in calm awareness, the more your faith will become strong. Yes, this is the truth. This is the truth. When initially, in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna starts telling Arjuna that you are the self. You should not grieve for people who go or who are alive or who are dead. There was never a time when you were not. There will never be a time when you will be not. ऐसा कभी नहीं था कि तू नहीं था, ये राजा नहीं थे, मैं नहीं था, ऐसा कभी नहीं होगा. Now these are mere words. Arjuna is not grasping anything. अर्जुन को उस समय कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा है. ध्यान से बाकी के बाद के चैप्टर्स देखोगे आप देखोगे फिर से वो पुराने प्रश्न पूछ रहा है, फिर से कर्म के बारे में जानना चाह रहा है. Why? Because at that point of time, he was not ready. The mind was so filled with thoughts. I have to kill Pitama. I have to kill my teacher, Dronacharya. And after all, they are also my brothers, my cousins. Why should I fight them? I should rather run away and take sannyas, become a monk, start living in the forest. All kinds of thoughts are there. Because this war, it's a question of life and death for everybody. It's not an ordinary war. So the mind is so filled with these thoughts, and all of a sudden Krishna says, you are the self. He does not grasp anything at that time. Although that introduction, that initiation into the truth was necessary at that time. But later on, Krishna will explain. And in the end, Arjuna says in the 18th chapter, now my memory of who am I has come back with your grace. So why is he not understanding? And why is it that you see the followers of Gyan Marga, Gyan Yoga, the path of knowledge, they tend to become more egoistic many times. ऐसा क्यों होता है कि ये ज्ञान मार्ग का फॉलो करने वाले बहुत सारे साधक और अहंकारी बन जाते हैं? And they start saying things like, I am God. Without understanding what they are saying. It is the ego that is saying. When you realize the self, you are not even there to say I am God. जब आप आत्मानुभव में होते हैं, जब ब्रह्म अनुभूति हो रही होती है, जब परमात्मा से साक्षात्कार है, तो कौन कहेगा कि मैं भगवान, मैं गॉड? मैं तो खत्म हो गया. Then everything has become quiet in you. You cannot say it. So I was telling you about the shadow side. That there is a tendency, without understanding it, if you are doing it, you tend to become a lot more egoistic sometimes. तुम्हारा अहंकार बहुत बढ़ जाता है. This is Maya. It traps you in this manner or in that manner, in this way or in that way. माया आपको कहीं ना कहीं पकड़ ही लेती है. Merely saying I am God and you become God. Does it happen like that? Merely saying I am the self, do you even experience what you're saying? That is why I prefer personally the combination of the four yogas to make the understanding deep and to obviate the possibility of the shadow side becoming egoistic. कहीं अहंकार खड़ा ना हो जाए तो भक्ति साथ में लेके चलो. हाथ जोड़कर ज्ञान मार्गी हो गए, ठीक है, आप जो भी आप फॉलो करते हो, अहम ब्रह्मास्मि तत्त्वमसि, जो भी फॉलो करते हो, वो एम आई, पर उसके साथ रोज भगवान को 108 बार साष्टांग प्रणाम करो, उनकी स्तुतियां गाओ, उनसे प्रार्थना करो, झुको. Take the support of bhakti. love for God, and then your practice will remain stable. The chances of your becoming egoist will get diluted. Without purity of the mind, who am I question cannot be understood. That is why when you do the retreat, you know, in the first level of learning, besides the entire theory of the mind, we learn the inquiry so that the impurities can be washed off. जब आप रिट्रीट करने आते हैं तो आपको मालूम ही है कि शुरू के कुछ दिनों में तो मन की पूरी थ्योरी समझते हैं और उसके साथ साथ इंक्वायरी सीखते हैं ताकि पवित्रता आए, ताकि अनासक्ति आए, so that you get detached from your obsessions, fixations, X factors, M factors, your wrong beliefs, your conditionings. आपकी दुनिया भर की फजूल की मान्यताएं हैं जिसको बोझ की तरह ढो रहे हो, इंक्वायरी आपको वो छुड़वाती है, अनासक्ति देती. Then you start deserving this question, who am I? Before that, you don't even deserve. Shri Krishna says towards the end of the Bhagavad Gita that this knowledge ought to be given to the deserving students, not to any Tom, Dick and Harry. ये जो ज्ञान है ना, जो तप करने वाला है, जो भक्त है, जो विनयी है, हाथ जोड़ के सीखना चाहता है, जो तत्पर है, सबको नहीं बांटना है, डिजर्विंग कैंडिडेट को देना है ये ज्ञान. क्यों? क्योंकि समझ ही नहीं आएगा. Why? Because others will not be able to grasp it. You may give lectures, you may be a professor of the Gita or Vedanta in the university. You may give long discourses with flowery language. You might be a wizard of words. आप बहुत वाक चतुर हो सकते हैं, पर वाक चतुरता से परमात्मा का साक्षात्कार नहीं होता है, भक्ति नहीं आती है. So who am I needs to be practiced with a very pure heart. Therefore, the inquiry, so that the wrong conditionings, X factors, desires, aversions, all this mess that you have created in the mind, that can be removed so that who am I inquiry can reach its fruition. ये अपने गंतव्य स्थान पर मंजिल तक ये इंक्वायरी कैसे पहुंचेगी अगर मन बहुत आसक्त हो. इकट्ठा चलेगा मन की अनासक्ति और इंक्वायरी, और उसके बाद हु एम आई इंक्वायरी, सब इकट्ठा चलेगा. और भक्ति और साथ में कर्म योग, सब इकट्ठा चलेगा. So all the four yogas, the path of knowledge, Jnana Yoga, the path of devotion, Bhakti Yoga, the path of selfless work, Karma Yoga, and meditation. This is a complete package. Then you obviate the possibility of falling into several traps. चारों योगों को इकट्ठा लेके चलोगे तो ये संभावनाएं कम हो जाती हैं कि आप माया के ट्रैप में फंसो। फिर भी फंस सकते हो, गारंटी किसी चीज की नहीं है। माया बहुत शक्तिशाली, यहां से वहां से कहीं से पकड़ने की कोशिश करती है। पर जितना विनय होगा, जितना आप झुकोगे, जितना समर्पण होगा, उतनी कृपा होगी। The more you surrender, the more you will feel the grace. So let us take an example. Suppose a thought arises in the mind. That my boss should understand my point of view. And your mind starts revolving around this thought. You don't even know that 10 minutes pass and you are lost in this thought for 10 minutes. You are communicating with your boss, a dialogue, imaginary dialogue is going on in your mind. You're telling him something and he's replying, and then you are arguing, he's also arguing, and 10 minutes pass. And all of a sudden, your awareness comes back. Then what do? The first part of the work is, what are the likes and dislikes hidden in this? I would like my boss to understand my standpoint. I dislike that he does not. What other feelings are arising due to these likes and dislikes? I am irritated. I am angry. If I want to let go of anger and be peaceful, can I do that by keeping my likes and dislikes alive? It can never happen. If my peace is important for me, if that calmness is important for me, if my spiritual practice is important for me, I have to let go of the dislike that my boss does not understand. That dislike, that dvesh, was also a mental formation. That was also a manovritti. I let go. I surrender. How do I feel when I let go of the dislike? Calm. If this desire gets fulfilled, if my boss understands me, will that give me lasting peace? Never. There have been times when my boss does understand me, but I remain restless. For this reason or that reason, if this is not the boss, it will be family. If it is not the family, it will be money. If it is not the money, it will be something else. The mind remains restless for this reason or that reason. Do I feel complete? No, I don't feel complete when I have this disliking. Do I want to be complete? Yes. Then remaining attached with any X factor, how can I be feeling complete? पूर्णता कैसे मिलेगी अगर मैं अपूर्णता को जकड़ के पकड़ के रखूंगा? Do I want to feel complete and free? I have to ask myself. Then what are the conditionings? Conditionings are, people should understand each other. People should be sane. People should be wise. People should be sattvic. People should not unnecessarily argue. People should not have their hidden agendas. Bosses should be honest. There should be transparency in the offices. There should be transparency in the relationships. One should be truthful. Is it reality? No, it is not reality. Then what is the reality? The reality is that people and bosses are untruthful, are dishonest. People and even bosses do not understand the sane point, the wise points of their juniors. People or bosses are adamant, are stubborn, which means my thought that people should not be like this is wrong, is not matching with the reality. That's only a story I am carrying in my head. If I let go of that story, how do I feel? Ask yourself. Apply this to any thought that is disturbing you. How do you feel when you let go of your stories? You will feel free. It is not your responsibility to change people. Your only obligation in this lifetime is your mind and reaching your highest goal of self-realization. All the rest is secondary. Making the boss understand is secondary. Now, having freed yourself of this obsession that my boss should understand me, my children should understand me, my wife should understand me, there should not be problems in life, people should respect each other. All so much of baggage is there inside. Once you let that go, the mind is relatively more peaceful. Now you can do the inquiry of who am I? The mind is not restless like earlier. It is quite free of restlessness. Now you can ask to whom this thought came. That boss should be responsible, honest. To me, when you are saying to me, it means to Rakesh, to Subrato, to Shreya, to Shikha, to Teresa, to Charo. Now, the next question is, who am I? मैं कौन हूं? And now stay quiet and let the mind merge in the heart, in the cell. You realize here that I am Subrata, that thought itself is wrong. The source of that thought, the Chinmay Prakash, blissful awareness, eternal, that I am experiencing now is the reality. Stay there as long as your mind permits. Some other thoughts will arise again. Then once again do the inquiry. So, detachment plus who am I question. Let these two go together. And of course, as I said earlier, devotion also, worship also, Naam Jap also, Prarthana also, surrender also. This is how we have to practice. Om Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. Sarve Santu Niramayah. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu. Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bless you all. Thank you.